Hey guys!
Hey guys!
This is Michelle.
And this is Mark.
And this is the Mark and Michelle show.
It is on Sunday morning. And
is it morning?
No, actually, take that back. Early Sunday afternoon. So anyway, we wanted to continue on with the physical symptoms.
Can I just say?
Yes.
I've been reading this book called Hive Mind, The New Science of Tribalism in Our Divided World by Sarah Cavanagh, Ph.D. And I'm only on page 17, but she talks about sociality in the brain and how extremely social our brains are.
Mm-hmm.
And I was seeing this from the perspective of Mark not having what she's talking about. So it's very interesting. If you want to understand more about what your autistic loved one is missing, the first 17 pages of this book is really fascinating.
It is. And
she is an emotional, what did I say?
Emotional regulation researcher.
I had no idea that that was a thing.
Well, there is a woman, and I don't remember her name, but I see her ads on Facebook a lot, and she uses movement to help regulate emotions in autistic children and adults. And so she is one of those researchers as well. But I find it interesting because this book, Michelle just happened upon it in our newly opened library. And it says right on, like, I don't know what page that is, in the first 10 pages, that the human brain is very social. It is built in, right? There's a scientist telling you that. It is true, all right? So when a brain doesn't work correctly socially, then it doesn't work correctly, all right? So, want to continue on?
Go on.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
Finished.
That's all right. You can diatribe anytime you want. All right. Let's start with this. This will be our third set today.
Physical symptoms.
Physical symptoms.
Mark healed from, and a reminder that this is Mark's symptoms that he healed from.
Mm-hmm.
So yours might be different, but they also might be the same. So you know what you're doing. This list is in our free ebook, Buried Alive: One Man's Journey Out of Autism. www.healautism.com. You can have this list.
Exactly. All right. Severely restrictive diet. Oh my God. I didn't have a problem with that. I really didn't.
No.
I enjoyed all kinds of foods. I even went to culinary school to learn how to cook and poison myself even further, which I did regularly, just like most everyone else does. But that is a big problem that I constantly hear from parents. My kid's diet is Cheetos, gummy worms, and Coke.
Or chicken nuggets and fries.
Mm-hmm. And the book that Michelle talked about yesterday has excellent suggestions on picky eaters and how to get them.
You guys.
And so we're going to be doing a live on that.
Yeah, after I get like my bearings in it to tell you about it more.
Mm-hmm. And because severely restrictive diet is a serious problem. Now, severely restrictive diet, why does it happen? Well, biggest thing is there are cravings that are being controlled by bacteria or viruses, more than likely bacteria. And those things are demanding more food. In this case, crappy carbohydrates, right? Not the good ones, like carrots and Brussels sprouts and peas and things like that, but or bananas and oranges and apples, but chicken nuggets and pasta and potato chips. And now, are all potato chips bad? No. Is all pasta bad? No. But those things are huge cravings, because for me, I was eating half a gallon of ice cream a day at my worst, pounds of pasta, huge portions of meat. So see, I was feeding the strep, and I was feeding the viruses. And guarantee you that those are things that you deal with in picky eating, strep and viruses. Not only that,
let's acknowledge our people over here.
Oh, hey,
we don't know how to say who you are, so hi to Ziona and Hamish.
Right. And thanks for being here, guys, and or gals, either way. But
People.
people, there you go. Because that's the most important thing in this world.
We're people.
It really is.
We're all people.
So pica, or pica, some people, which is eating things that aren't edible, like coins. I didn't swallow those things, but I did chew on them, like pennies, bolts.
But we do have a client who has a child who eats his diaper. So
does he?
Yeah.
I know he did that. Okay,
he eats all kinds of things. And what we learned is that pica is lead poisoning. That was per Mayo Clinic.
It was, yeah, that was Mayo Clinic.
So
and
heavy metal detox smoothie.
Mm-hmm.
Get that lead out.
Get that heavy metal detox smoothie going, because you need to clear out all metals. Right? Mercury is implicated in. Give me just a minute.
We have a kitty emergency.
Come on, mister. Here, you can be up here with us. Just not trampling all over that. But mercury is implicated in autism. Lead as well. There are other heavy metals. So that heavy metal detox smoothie is going to change your life. How do we know? First of all, it changed mine.
Mm-hmm. It's also changed mine, and I wasn't autistic. Okay.
Right? So if you don't want to believe us, believe our clients. We have a client whose son and daughter have been on the heavy metal detox smoothie, and it's already improved their school life.
2 months, I think it's been.
Mm-hmm, immeasurably in 2 months, right? And
also, to go back to the severely restrictive diet,
mm-hmm.
we have discovered that metals affect the taste of food. So you can have metals in your tongue that are messing with your taste buds.
Mm-hmm.
So Mark, as he has done the heavy metal detox smoothie, his taste buds have come on, and he's tasting things like he's never tasted them before.
Well, and I always had to have strong flavors.
Mm-hmm.
And I still like strong flavors, but now I can taste subtle things that I could not taste before.
So if your kid won't eat anything but chicken nuggets, if you can at least get the ingredients for the heavy metal detox smoothie going,
mm-hmm.
it's going to change their palate.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question over here. How long did it take you to start see results with the HMD smoothie?
30 days.
Now you saw the results in 2 weeks.
Well, okay, I see what you're saying. Well, yes, because we did the cleanse, the 28-day cleanse. We did it for 35 days because we're crazy like that.
2 weeks, you were already, your communication was lining up with your intent.
Exactly, that's what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
And so with that, noticing that the heavy metals were being peed out because the toilet water was gray instead of what you would normally consider very light yellow.
And that lasted for 2 weeks.
It did. Some people say that was blueberries. No, because I had stopped doing the heavy metal detox smoothie for a short period of time, and the toilet water was still gray, not blue, gray.
But then he continued with blueberries, and it wasn't gray anymore.
Exactly.
So because we saw the change in him, and we saw the gray pee, we figured, well, his metals have probably shifted at least.
Well, then we found some scientific papers.
Wow, you pee it out?
Yes, because I found a couple of papers. One was posted here a week or two ago by someone who was interested, and then another paper was from
talking about our Facebook page.
Yeah, scientific papers. One of them was from '95, and they were using cilantro, which is in the heavy metal detox smoothie, to help detox some people from heavy metals. And the scientists showed that the people, the research subjects, eliminated the heavy metals in their urine, and they tested for it. That's how they know. And so, sorry, mister, I've given him way too many toys to play with. Oh, sorry. But anyway, so that's how you know. You may not see them, or you may. In my case, I did. But then, how many people look in the toilet just to see, ooh, hey, it's, some people do, some people don't. So being on the GAPS diet, you tend to, or having been on the GAPS diet, because the quality of your poop is important on the GAPS diet. So anyway, should we move on from restricted diet?
Just want to reiterate, if they won't eat anything, see if you can at least get the heavy metal detox smoothie. You don't have to have it as a smoothie. You can have all 5 ingredients within 24 hours, and they can be like on a salad or whatever.
Or you
on your chicken nuggets. I mean, whatever you have to do.
To start with,
right?
And you'll want to eliminate those chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
But or they may eliminate themselves, getting heavy metals out, which I fully expect. So, but anyway, restrictive eating. We're going to talk more about restrictive eating in a separate live. We've talked about it a little bit here and there.
Right.
But restrictive eating isn't just for autistic kids. There are other kids who have that issue as well. So we might as well talk about it, right? Poor color discrimination. Okay. You guys have probably heard us tell the story of my color perception coming on a couple years into recovery back in 2015 and 16. Michelle and I were at a Target, and we were even driving over to my mom and dad's house once, and the leaves got brighter, and I could see individual leaves now. And by that point, and colors became so bright that I had to kind of squint because they had become too saturated for my eyeballs. And so poor color discrimination is something that is now in my past, but it may very well be present for your autistic loved ones. And we'll also talk about poor oral discrimination, hearing, here in just a moment, because I had that trouble. But you'll find, I have heard a lot of people say who are working on recovering their kids from autism that, well, we've been on the diet for 2 weeks, and now my kid's just staring at things with wide eyes. I've seen that so many times. What that means is your perception, the perception for your child, whether visual, has changed so much. They're seeing the world very differently now, at least physically, through their physical senses. And because I did that too. I remember we were at a Target. Michelle and I were at a Target close to home here, and we walked in, and it was dark outside, but we walked in, and all of a sudden the red and white of Target was just almost unbearable. And all the bright colors of all the products on the shelves, like the lime greens and the hot pinks, and it was just like,
and that was, he was smiling, and to that point he didn't smile very often, and it was a real smile, the first real smile I'd ever seen, really.
Well,
and so I was like, what's wrong?
Well, and she was near to freaking out because she's like, what's the matter?
What's going on?
And so the colors had just become so bright because I guess heavy metals had been cleared out of my system, or
out of your eyes.
And proteins as well, that are chemical messengers in your brain, those were working for me as well. And because I was on GAPS diet when this happened. So
oh, that's right.
You'll
see your metals.
No, but it would have been proteins as chemical messengers.
Right.
But anyway, so that perception is definitely going to change for your loved one when you're going through recovery. In fact, let's go on into the next one. Poor oral discrimination, not oral, A-U-R-A-L.
Oral.
Hearing. And I had trouble listening to more than one conversation at a time. In fact, if I was carrying on one conversation and somebody came in and started talking to me, that made me really mad. Now, unfortunately, she dealt with that most of the time, but other people did as well. And I couldn't discriminate. I couldn't cut out one conversation above another. Everything mixed in. And music was easier for me to do that, but not conversations, because I would have to crane my head to hear. And because if there was a lot of background noise, I worked in kitchens a lot. So if there was a lot of background noise, then I had a lot of trouble making out what someone was trying to tell me. And if people got louder, that made me mad, and I'd turn around and I'd tell them, stop talking. Now, that happened in class, too. I remember in a general chemistry class, a couple of girls sitting in front of me a few rows down. They were talking and talking, and I got rude and told them, just be quiet. And they did, but I couldn't hear the teacher at all. Now, there was 270-some kids in that class, or, I'll say people. And so I had trouble getting the information I needed if there was too much background noise. Well, I guess it was about 2018, maybe it was 17. But Michelle and I were with some friends, and I was working on a computer for one of them, and that person was talking to me. Another person started talking to me, and I replied to her, and then I went back to what I was doing. All of a sudden, I realized, hey, wait a minute, that didn't make me mad. And yes, I can relate to it. It's so stressful when I'm listening to more than one person at a time. Yes, Ziona, is it an I? And yes, it is stressful to listen to more than one person at a time. Not now, but then it was. And because your brain isn't healthy enough to handle all of that information. You're being overloaded by 2 conversations or 3 conversations all at once. And depending on your culture, some people may be more orderly and wait and then talk. Or here, people tend to talk over one another much more.
It's here in Oklahoma.
Right. And that can be a little frustrating still for me, but not for hearing reasons. But if your kids get mad because people are trying to talk to them, all of you need to bow out, and one person needs to talk to them at a time.
And I had a question that I've never thought to ask you, but there's a lot of people whose kids won't respond when they talk to them. I wondered if your internal dialogue was sometimes so loud you couldn't hear the outside world.
Yes.
And that's what I thought maybe was going on with those kids. Their internal dialogue was so loud they didn't hear the mom say, hey.
Well, now here's another situation with that that you might, and I think this is probably more likely. In the background noise, a mother's voice may not, if a mother's voice isn't louder than the background noise, I wouldn't have responded to it. Then I imagine more moderate and severe autistic kids and loved ones won't either, because they can't tell that sound is louder than the surrounding sound that they hear. And so a mom's voice would probably have to be somewhat louder to get their attention. Now, I didn't respond to my name all the time. Maybe that also has to do with sense of self.
Well, I remember trying to get your attention when you were autistic, and sometimes I was not successful, and I would have to go tap you or something.
Well, yeah, hearing might have been so bad too, that I think you're probably right.
How does hyperfocus fit in there? Because that often that's what you were doing.
Hyperfocus cuts you off from your senses because your senses aren't regulated well. That may be sensory processing disorder. And so sensory processing disorder, your senses, because they're not regulated well, hyperfocus cut me off from that, which I liked, because then I wasn't overwhelmed by unregulated information. So that's probably why. And that's probably why most kids with autism do it, is because their senses aren't regulating well and they're just overwhelmed by amounts of information. So hyperfocus is a way to de-stress. We've talked about that in the past. But, all right, let's move on to the, I don't have problems with oral discrimination now unless things are just too loud. Lack of spatial orientation.
Oh, the tripping, the falling, the...
Yeah, and I think there's a name for that. Maybe that's dyspraxia. I don't know. But how much would you say you are healed? Ziona, 95%. At least 95%. Because what I have now are what are called developmental gaps. Now, they're not huge because I'm an adult with now a fully functioning adult brain. But those social and developmental gaps are small. But
well, he's been working on them for a little while.
I have for 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
And so I now make friends easily. I also know who not to make friends with. And they're my own friends instead of just tagging along and hanging around with her friends. And so that makes life much easier for her because she doesn't have to interpret the word for me anymore. She was my translator.
Yes.
Now, hey, Emily.
Hi, Emily.
And so because of that, because I have to say it's at least 95%. And the only reason I'm not 100% is because there are still some developmental gaps that I have that are not major, but I need those to be a completely functioning member of social society.
Well, and I would also say that strep and viruses are still present.
Yeah, enough to be a problem.
Not, but manageable.
But they are manageable, yes. So about 95%. And right now,
if you compare him to when he was 100% autistic.
Yeah, I have dug out of that hole, and now I'm back the other way. And so really, it's just minor issues, but they're minor social issues, which is to be expected, because when you have autism your whole life, you are not learning the same way the rest of the world is, because
which is what we were reading in here yesterday about how mirror neurons is the implicit learning, and it's turned off in autistic people.
And so the implicit learning and the implicit communication aren't there because the mirroring neuron system, as the book says, your whole brain is really a mirroring neuron system. Your whole brain mirrors behaviors in other people.
So like if somebody watches somebody do something, the areas in their brain that light up are the exact same areas in the brain that the person watching lit up. So it's almost as if they did it with the person. And so that is why an NT can learn so much faster. They can learn by watching one time.
And I'm able to do that now.
Yes.
Depending on the complexity of the of whatever it is I'm trying to learn.
Yes, but all of that came on for him. I saw it happen.
And so healing is real. I don't care what the neurodiversity movement says. Healing is real. Autism can be recovered. I don't use the word cure because cure absolves you of a responsibility.
And you will always have to be careful because strep and viruses do not go away ever.
Exactly.
But they can become manageable.
And so anyway, let's see.
I think we can save that one for tomorrow.
We'll end that. We were talking about lack of spatial orientation.
We can do that tomorrow.
But we'll do that one tomorrow. All right, guys, we'll let you go, but continue on that heavy metal detox smoothie, continue on the celery juice, continue on that lemon water, and definitely go to www.healyourautism.com to download our free ebook.
That has this in it.
Yep. Buried Alive, One Man's Journey Out of Autism. Michelle put that together. It's an awesome book. Then on our next page, you can purchase our book, Heal Your Autism's Do-It-Yourself Guide. Healing Begins in Your Kitchen, and it shows exactly how we got to where we are now.
And tells you how to do it.
And tells you how to travel and everything. There's all kinds of travel on the diet and that type of thing. There's all kinds of freebie items that go with it. So, but
and if you need help, we coach.
We do coach. We coach one-on-one, and we also coach in a group setting, which that's on the third page of our website. So anyway, guys, we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, and we'll talk more about that then. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a great day.